I want to tell you a story. This is a story of a young maiden named Valentina. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, a handsome young man won the heart of a poor maiden. They married, and their happiness knew no bounds when their beautiful daughter was born. Although they were not wealthy, they loved their little girl and always gave her the best they could manage. The family lived in a big city with big buildings and lovely bridges crossing the river. The little girl grew up to be kind, thoughtful and pleasant to all. Her mother and father taught her many things, and she was fortunate to be able to go to school where she pleased her teachers. The little girl had many cousins to play with, and she played games and read to her two younger brothers. In the winter, she skated on the frozen river, tobogganed down snowy slopes, threw snowballs, or stayed near the cosy warm fire reading or helping her mother with the cooking. In the summer, she played in the twilight of evening as all the neighbours came out to sit and talk and sing. The family garden plot at the edge of town also needed to be tended and the fruit harvested. She loved the fresh tomatoes straight from the vine, or the sweet, sweet corn. The potatoes would be stored and the cucumbers and cabbages salted and pickled ready for the long, cold winter. Sometimes, during the summer holidays, she went to Red Pioneer camps and learned how to be a good citizen of her beloved country. She was proud of her red scarf. But her happiest times were the special days of celebration when all the uncles and aunts and cousins would come to sit around the table, eat delicious food, laugh, sing and dance. Sadly, this happy life was not to last. The people of the land feared the king, but they dared not talk about him in case he heard and sent them to the dungeon. Everyone worked hard and never complained, hoping that the king would not come near them. The evil ruler of a nearby land was friendly with their king. But one day he sent his soldiers to take the king's land. The evil ruler's soldiers burnt the people's homes and crops, stole all their possessions, and took some of the people to be slaves in the evil ruler's land. The people were frightened. They were also hungry because most of the crops were destroyed and there was no wheat to make flour for bread. The people had to walk far away to farms where there was still some food. They traded gold and jewellery for food. The little girl was a maiden now. She saw many of the soldiers' bad deeds. She tried to keep out of their way, but the soldiers caught her and put her in an old wagon used for cattle. She was very frightened. She cried and wanted to go home to her loved ones. But the soldiers sent her far, far away to another land. The journey took several weeks. It was very crowded in the wagon and smelly, and it was hard to breathe. In the new land, far, far away from her home, the soldiers locked her up with other maidens they had caught. They made her work hard, and even though she was often hungry and sick, she was very sad and homesick. Some people were kind and secretly gave her food or clothes or helped her in other ways. But mostly they yelled at her and locked her up at night. When the noises of the battle became too frightening, she dreamed of going home to her loving family. Her father's warm and fair hugs, her mother's wonderful food and her cosy bed with the goose down doona. The years passed, and the young maiden became a beautiful woman. She made friends with other workers and managed to have some fun times. Her hard work and kind ways pleased her masters, and in time they treated her like one of the family. But she was never really free, and always had to wear a band on her arm to show she was a slave, but she didn't always obey this rule. One day, she heard that all the bad soldiers had gone, and now all the slaves were free. The joyful news spread, and the slaves started to go home to their families. The young woman prepared to go home, but she was warned that evil had spread throughout her land and that it was dangerous to go back. She had to hide. She didn't know who to trust. Her joy now turned to fear and sadness. Would she ever see her family again? Would she ever taste her mother's fragrant new sponge again? Would she ever sit and have long talks with her father again? Would she be forced to return to her homeland and face hard work and imprisonment? What was to happen to her? How could she escape? By good fortune, the young woman was able to escape to a friendly land to the west. There she met a charming, modest young man who had also escaped to this friendly land. He worked in the coal mines deep underground. The young woman loved him and he loved her. They were married, but were sad that they could not share this happy time with their families. Life was hard and the work was hard and dangerous. The birth of their first daughter brought them great joy, and they called her Hope as a sign for the future. They loved Hope and wanted her to grow up in the safest place in the world. After much thought and at great cost, they crossed the oceans of the world to come to a land of great opportunity, far, far away from the troubles of the evil kings. Life at first was hard for the young mother and father, but they were grateful to be in a land where hard work was rewarded. The new land was very different to anything they had ever seen before. It was so flat. The sun was hotter, the land was drier, and the forests were called bush. The animals were strange, and the birds had different colours. The people in this new land spoke a different language, and at first they were unsure of the newcomers. But before long, they became friends and even started eating salami and garlic, sour cream and yogurt. The new family took a while to get used to Vegemite, but they loved the fresh meat and lovely fruit. This was an abundant land. They were glad they made the effort to come to this land. Others too had escaped from the evil rulers, and they came to this fair land. There was a special bond between them because they understood why they all had to flee far, far away. Many felt the terror for many years, and even today, not everyone wants to remember or talk about old times. In time, 2 more daughters were added to the family. They were named Faith and Love. The family prospered in this new land, and the 3 sisters, Hope, Faith and Love, grew up into lovely maidens who each met their Prince Charming and married. They were grateful to their mother and father that they had a good life in this land and did not have to endure the troubles of the evil rulers. Sorrow entered their lives when father became gravely ill and died. Mother made friends and enjoyed her grandchildren. Life was good again. There is always faith, hope and love. This story has the elements of a fairy tale. A heroine evil rulers, difficulties, love, and in the end, salvation and triumph over evil. But as you can see, this is a true life story. It is the story of a young girl, Valentina Alexeyevna Varsholin, who became a beautiful woman and married her Prince Charming and became Mrs. Max Koshino, and had 3 daughters named Nadia, Veronica and Luba. Hope, faith and love. It is the story of Valentina's happy life in the far, far away land of Russia before the evil rulers Hitler and Stalin began to terrorize the people. It is the story of Valentina's years in Germany as a slave labourer. At this point, I just want to stop my part of the talk and tell you something interesting that has happened recently. I contacted the family that my mother was with, that Valentina lived with in Germany. They were called the Kolks. And I started emailing them. I contacted them by writing to the address that was on Mum's work card that she had in Germany. And I had a response from the people in Germany where she was, and they sent a lovely message. The 2 people that Mum lived with had died, but their son Helmut sent this message. Dear Valentina, while you were working for my parents during the Great War, I wasn't even born yet. From the stories I got told by my parents, I got to know that my parents were concerned about you, though there was military control. So they were also concerned about Vasily and Johann. But still, you lost your youth back home. What can I do? I can just be ashamed and beg for your pardon. That is very touching, isn't it? And they have been lovely and have sent a beautiful greeting to you and a beautiful photograph enhanced on their computers. And this is a photograph they still have of you in Germany. And another message written by Stephanie, that's Helmut's wife, Stephanie and Helmut. We send our love to all your family, especially to your mother, with our wishes, as we say in Germany, Sie mögen noch viele Jahre bei bester Gesundheit die Ohren steif halten, which means, and that may you spend many, many years in best health, chin up. Anyway, after her slave labour episode in Germany, Mum escaped to Belgium after the war and then to Australia. But the irony is that she had to hide from her own people, the Russians, and that's why she couldn't go home. She had to hide from her own people to escape imprisonment, hard labour and possibly death if she returned to her home. This caused huge heartache, as there was nothing she wanted to do more than return to her home and loved ones. Choices had to be made, and Valentina's life shows that her choices were for the best. None of these events were pleasant or desired, but they were the means of her salvation, physically and spiritually. Had she remained in Russia, a communist, God-hating regime, Valentina would probably have continued to be a good communist pioneer. propelled by the propaganda from the state. She may never have known about the God she came to love and adore. The God Valentina believes protected and guided her through all the events of the war and separation from family and friends. This is the God who was her refuge and strength, even when she didn't realise it herself. I have heard my mother ponder such things. Why should God have chosen me to survive with hardly a scratch through those terrible years, while others suffered so terribly and died? I think that part of that answer is right here today. Look around. This is the result of the life of Valentina Koshner. Family, family and friends. Family and good friends. This is her heritage. She lost one heritage and gained another. I'm sure each one of you, like me, can testify to being touched or influenced by this wonderful woman. Thank you, Mum.